Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to cover two very important safety items that need to be replaced every 5 years. Details coming up on RV Street. Okay, let's get right to it. I decided today to do these two PM items because today it's rainy and it's a great time to take care of these two items. I have here a smoke and carbon monoxide alarm and a propane alarm. Both of these need to be replaced every 5 years. Now, the last time I changed my propane alarm was in late of 2016. And I just want to make a point here that whenever you watch any of my videos, just because it goes live on a certain date doesn't mean that's when I did it. I usually have 5, 6, 7 videos already stacked up in YouTube, and I release them at certain dates. I may have changed this in October or November of one year, but you may not even see this video until June or July. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're watching any of my videos. It's not that I just got through doing that. I may have done it months before. So let's go into the RV and let's start working on changing out the propane alarm. And when I do the carbon monoxide alarm, there's going to be a lot more details on that too. Both of these got some important points. So let's go inside. Now, your propane gas alarm should be located somewhere in the kitchen galley area, and it's going to be mounted low. The reason for this is propane is heavier than air. So if you have a propane leak, or possibly one of your stove knobs was slightly turned on and it's leaking propane, it's going to go down to the ground. So here's mine right here, and it's right below the sink. Now, if you do have a propane leak, or like I said, maybe you didn't quite close a stove knob or whatever, you got a little slight leaking of propane, it's going to smell kind of like a dirty gray tank. At least it does to me. There's just like this really funky smell in the RV, and it smells like gray water. So that's kind of a nose smell type of a clue that, uh-oh, we may have propane starting to leak in here. Now, these propane alarms, they come in all different kinds of sizes and shapes. And sometimes you're going to have a hard time finding an exact replacement for yours. But it's not a big deal. You can still replace it with a different type. Just make sure that it meets the proper high standards. But the problem is that if you can't find an exact replacement, it's more than likely isn't going to match into your existing hole in the cabinets down low on the floor. But that's not a big deal either. Let me show you how you can fix that problem. So just to give you an example, here in our half bath, we have an electrical outlet, right? And I'm just going to pull that cover off. And, you know, there's a hole here in the wall for this electrical outlet. But then there's a wooden frame built around the hole of this electrical outlet to kind of cover the opening in behind here. Then when you put the cover on, everything looks nice and clean. But let's say that I couldn't find this exact replacement where it'll fit exactly in that hole. Let's just say it was square. Okay, it was a smaller one. Well, obviously there's going to be a lot of room on the outside here. You could just make a wooden or a metal plate that goes over this area, and then the hole in the middle to fit the new propane alarm. I think you understand what I'm saying. The reason I brought that up is I've read a lot online where people cannot find an exact match for what they have, because there's all kinds of different models and shapes and sizes out there. But again, it's not a big deal. That's how you can fix that problem. To test or mute the alarm, simply press this button anytime when the alarm is powered. Just be aware that this test button does not test the sensor. It's only testing the alarm circuit and verifies that it is being powered by 12 volt. If you want to actually test the sensor, you can use propane or butane to test it by releasing it near the sensor, which is right here, and it may take 10 seconds or so for the alarm to sound. Regardless of the make and model, they're going to have an EOL of 5 years. EOL is end of life expectancy. So this does need to be replaced every 5 years. Also, if you have pets that shed hair, that hair can get around this sensor and really play havoc with it and make it malfunction or not work at all. So if you have any fur babies, don't let them kind of get comfortable where this is where they want to sleep and snuggle all the time. This is one area that needs to be clear from pets. And again, if you do have pets that shed hair, vacuum that area or wipe it down with a damp cloth every week, every couple of weeks. Keep it clean so that that sensor is unobstructed. So let's get started replacing mine. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the cover. Now these alarms, this is 12 volt, okay, so there's no need to unplug, and there really isn't any need to disconnect the batteries or anything like that. I'll show you as we go along here. This is not something that's dangerous to work on. But anytime that I work on anything electrical, you can see that I don't have any rings on and I don't have a watch or anything like that. You can see on this old one, you look on the back there, and you see how it says November 29th, 2016. So 5 years from there is when this needs to be replaced. My new alarm has a new date of January 2022. So this alarm will not need to be replaced until January of 2027. So my wiring has closed-in crimp connectors right here. So to get these off, you just go, they're crimped on this way, but we're going to turn it, rotate it, remove the crimps that way. And that's one. And you can see, you can touch that wire, it's not going to hurt you. But to be safe, take that one wire and put this nut on there. That way, when we pull this one off, these two wires can't touch each other, okay? Let's take off the second crimp connector. Okay, so this is disconnected. And you can see I can touch this one wire and it's not going to hurt you, okay? Okay, so I'm going to take the old propane alarm and I'm going to put it over here. Here's my new alarm. It's got two bare wires, okay? And my wiring has a plug. I can simply just unplug that, and now I can put my wiring up to here. Red to red, black to black. But let's say that you do not have a plug on yours, and you don't know which one is hot and which one isn't. Well, to test that, you're going to need a multimeter. This is the easiest and best way to do this. So you take your multimeter and you put it on 12 volt. If you guys don't have a multimeter, this is one of the most valuable tools you'll ever have in an RV. Every person that owns an RV should have one of these. I've had this one for years. And all this stuff I have in my Amazon store. The multimeter I have in my store is better than this one. But in any case, you need these to check all kinds of electrical issues, testing circuits, checking your batteries, and so on. So if you don't have one of these, you need to get one and learn how to use it. They're not that hard to learn. So what we're going to do is we got it turned to 12 volt. And again, let's just say you don't have a plug. We're going to pretend that this does not have this plug, that there's just bare wires here. You would be taking the red prong and put it on the yellow wire and the black prong on the white wire, and looking at that, and look at there, 12.39. You see that? 12.3. That's telling me that this is the hot wire. Watch what happens if I did it opposite. If I put the red over here and the black over here, I'd get a minus. You see that? It's minus 12.37. So that's reversed. Coming back over here again, putting it on the yellow wire, putting the black on the white wire, and I get a plus, a regular 12.37 reading. So again, if these were just wires and not a plug, you would take the red wire, put it to the yellow wire, and the black wire to the white wire. And then use a new end clamp connector on those two wires. Before I go finish wiring this up, these alarms are usually always connected directly to the battery, okay? Like a lot of other things, your antenna and other things. They draw a little bit of power all the time. It's called parasitic power. So that's why a lot of RVers, when they store their RVs in the winter for months and months at a time, they'll disconnect their batteries. Because if they didn't, all these little items that draw a little bit of power combined over several months can drain their batteries. So I just thought I'd bring that point up. Another thing I want to show you, a lot of you guys know how to do this, but some of you don't. And I learned that from the comments and stuff that you asked me. So again, let's just say you have wires that are all frayed, right? They're all just crummy and they're old, and you can't get a connector, an end connector on them. They're just all crummy like that, right? Or some of the wires are missing and all that. Not a problem. What you do is you just take your diagonal cutters and just cut off that old wire. Then you take this tool right here. This is my very favorite tool. I cut the old wire off real clean, but then I can just insert that wire just like that and bring that down, and look at that. It gives it a nice, clean wire. Let's do it again. Bring it in just far enough like that there, and now you got a clean wire. Isn't that awesome? I just love this tool. So now, since I do have a plug, I'm going to take my red wire and connect it to the red wire on there. I'm going to put my in connector, and then I'm going to crimp it and then test it nice and tight. Then I can take this off. This just prevents those two wires from ever touching each other, so it's kind of a good safety thing to do. Then you take the two black wires and you put them together, and take another in connector and push it all the way in, and you want to crimp it right there, okay? And then you can take your plug, and you can see you cannot put this plug on backwards. The way the holes are designed, you can't put it on backwards. It'll only go one way, and that allows red to yellow, black to white. Click it in, and you can see the light is flashing. So we're going to go ahead and put this back in, and we're going to put the screws in. Whenever I'm screwing anything into wood, I use my gun, but only most of the way, because it's too easy to screw in this screw into the wood and then strip out the wood. So you can just take this and take it most of the way in, and then take a hand screwdriver and finish it. And that way you'll prevent from stripping that out. Once you have the new alarm in, you can push right here, and that tests it. We know for sure that the power is on and it is now armed. And by the way, you cannot buy these end connectors at box stores like Home Depot, Lowe's, or Walmart, any of those places. I've never seen any of those places carry these. But guess what? I have these in my Amazon store. This whole box is like 12 bucks. And they have all different kinds, different sizes. Okay, that's it. Now let's move on and install the smoke and carbon monoxide alarm and some more important information. I'd just like to remind everybody and thank everybody for using my Amazon store. Everything in every video I do is in my Amazon store. Here lately, we have met so many people that use our Amazon store, and I'll tell you, I just can't thank you enough. We had one guy in Batesville, Indiana. He said, "Martin, I not only use your store, I bookmark your store. And every time I need something on Amazon, I click that bookmark and I go on to Amazon and I shop like I normally would, and I check out because I want to help you guys." And Joni and I just want to tell you that we are so appreciative on how you support us by using our Amazon store. It's a great way to say thank you, Martin. Thank you for taking the time to doing these videos and helping the RV community. For those of you who are new to my channel, the link to my Amazon store is
down there
in the description text. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for supporting us. Okay, the next thing that I recommend changing out every 5 years is the smoke alarm. Or in my case, I'm replacing my smoke alarm with a smoke and carbon monoxide alarm. And you're probably wondering why I say every 5 years. Well, these smoke alarms, they also have an EOL, an end of life expectancy. Depending on the make and model, some will say it's good for 7 years, good for 10 years. And most of these are rated for home use. And when you're dealing in a home situation where they have codes and regulations and all that, it can vary from state to state. And I'm not going to get into all the code requirements and laws of different states and all that. You can read all that information and the directions that come with these things. It's enough to make your eyes bleed. The point is, just change them out every 5 years. My propane alarm is the earliest EOL item in the RV, every 5 years. So when that goes out, I just replace these two. It just makes things so much easier in my life on what needs to be done when. Now the one that we're changing out is up here in the cabin area, you see? And it's right here between the two captain's chairs. This is a regular smoke alarm. So here's where the cabin smoke alarm is. And right here is where we cook. And you know how it is in RVs, right? Especially in ours, they're in a confined space, right? The smoke alarm is not that far away from where we cook or when we make a piece of toast or whatever. So because in an RV where you're so confined in an area, a lot of that smoke ends up drifting, 5 feet away, and it ends up tripping that smoke alarm. And Joni and I, we have a little joke that whenever she's cooking and the smoke alarm goes off, we go, "Dinner's ready." But seriously, when that alarm goes off, it's really annoying. And so what we do is we take our towel, and I'll come over here and I'll fan this towel like that, and that'll clear it. Usually, I may have to do that 2 or 3 times for her to finish cooking, and that'll allow the alarm to disable for enough time for her to finish. We have been with a lot of other people in RVs and have discussed it, and they're like, "Yep, we have to do that too." That's one reason why I'm going to a smoke and carbon monoxide alarm. I have one of these already installed in the bedroom. And what I really like about this unit is it not only gives me double protection, but it has this easy pull-out battery tray, okay? So when I get this installed and this alarm goes off, all I got to do is open up that tray and it disables the alarm so she can finish cooking. This one here does not have a tray, and it is a pain in the butt to undo this and get it, flip it down where I can disable the battery. I mean, I don't even do it. I just get my towel and I fan it. So by installing this new one, I'm not only going to get double protection, but if it starts to trip while she's cooking, all I got to do is just open up that tray. And because this alarm has gone off so much from her cooking, this thing is just plumb worn out. I mean, sometimes it'll just barely even go off. It's at its EOL, okay? The second reason I'm changing this out is because it's also a carbon monoxide alarm. Carbon monoxide can kill you. Joni and I like having our door and our windows and our vents open a lot. Unless it's just too darn hot and we're running the AC, right? With all our windows and vents and door open, and I mean, we could have a neighbor over there running, idling a truck for, I mean, I've seen them do that for like 30 minutes, an hour, or they're running their generator, or we're at a rally where there's a lot of RVs and they're running their generators, and there's a lot of this exhaust in the air, and so on. So there's a lot of ways where carbon monoxide can creep into the RV and you wouldn't even know it, right? So I wanted to have double protection. Now, like I said, I do have one of these in the bedroom because we have a gas coach and our generator is in the back. And I've covered all those safety features in my generator videos and why you should have one back there too. So let's replace this unit. You can see the footprint here is bigger than this one, but it has an adjustable bracket on the back, so it shouldn't be a very hard install. We're going to find out, aren't we? Now to get this one off, again, you got to pull this down and flip it down, and this is where you take out the battery, and it's got 2 screws right here. So let's take out those screws. So now that we've got the old alarm off, we got to install this base for the new one to snap into. You can see the footprint here is a lot bigger than the old base. So that makes this distance for the screws a little bit further away. And the screws that they gave me with this unit are too short. But that's okay. I went to my nut and bolt bin and I got 2 screws that are a little bit longer to allow that to reach and go into the existing holes. So we're going to put the longer screws in there, and now that's nice and snug. When you buy this unit here, it also comes with 2 AA batteries, and this one goes in that way. Got a little diagram right here telling you which way they need to go. And now that we got the base in, we can snap it into place. And here's my battery tray right here. Once this unit is installed, you want to press and hold this button, and this will program this alarm for this zone in the RV. I did that in the back bedroom, and it has its own zone. So we're going to go ahead and program this by holding this in.
Testing. Warning. Evacuate. Smoke. Evacuate. Warning. Evacuate. Carbon monoxide. Evacuate. Highest carbon monoxide level was 0 ppm.
And there you have it. Now it's installed and it's programmed. As with any alarm unit like this that requires batteries, of course, you always want to check this about once a month by pushing this button here. It's recommended that you change the batteries every 6 months, but it really depends on what kind of batteries you use, okay? So change these batteries out often, make sure that they're working right, and test it once a month. If you guys want to learn more about how to take care of your RV or do certain upgrades, just click my logo right under this video and that will take you to my YouTube homepage. On my homepage, you'll see the playlist tab. Click that and every video I've ever done will be right there on that page in different categories. Or as another option, you see that magnifying glass in the upper right-hand corner? Click inside there and type what you're looking for. If I've done a video on that subject, it will list it. Well, that's it for now, guys. Check your alarms. Check their age. These are 2 of the most important safety items in your RV. They may just save your life. So don't forget, go Martinize those things every 5 years. So until next time, this is RV Street. Stick around.